Parents, welcome to a 2020 tackle football equipment checkout meeting. Got a room full of people here, and I'm appreciative of them being here, needless to say. But thank you for one thing. Thank you for your business. We appreciate your business and your support. This is a tough time for everybody right now with the COVID situation going, and money's tight. I know it, you know it, and we as Kids Incorporated know that. So I want to thank you and appreciate you for your support of our organization. I want to talk about a few things this morning. Shouldn't take very long, but I want to cover some questions that you might have, and then some comments that I'll make. First of all, let's talk about season. As of right now, our season is set to begin on Saturday, September 12th. If that changes, it'll be posted to our website. Our coaches will have information on that, but as of right now, our plan is to begin on September 12th, and hopefully that will happen. What I want to talk about first is our tackle football equipment, and we'll talk about how we'll walk your kid through and how they will get their equipment, but let's talk about getting our equipment back before we actually check it out to you. What I'd like to let you know is that we'll be able to check that equipment back into us on Friday, October 16th. 4th and 5th grade leagues will finish their seasons. The 6th grade season will finish on October 24th with our food bowl, which we'll talk more about here in a few minutes. But it's imperative that we do get our equipment back, because about $200 is a pretty expensive set of equipment to lose, and you don't want to lose any of that, that's for sure. Also, let's talk about communication, and that's probably big with Kids Incorporated. Well, I know it's big in our office and everybody in this room, that's for sure. We've got to be able to communicate, and by that I mean we've got to communicate from coach to parent, from parent to Kids Inc., from Kids Inc. back to the coaches. So there's a lot of factors involved in that, and probably the biggest call I get is, or our ladies up front get, is I don't have the correct phone number. I'm trying to contact my parent, and I don't have the right phone number. A lot of you use group texting now and group messaging and things like that, and so it's imperative that your phone numbers and social media information is correct, so the coach has that, and then on the opposite end, the coach has to make sure that they've got the information correct on their information, so that way that you can make sure that if you need to contact them, you can contact that coach. So communicate back and forth with coach and parent. If there's ever any question, please call our office at Kids Incorporated at 376-5936. Any of our staff members can help you as far as any information about a coach and or a parent that you may need for the upcoming season. Let's talk about upcoming food bowl. As I mentioned a while ago, our food bowl will be on October 24th as of now. Now that could change. This will be for our 6th graders, parents and kids. They'll play one extra game, which will be down at West Texas A&M University on their campus in their new stadium, Buffalo Stadium. And that's an extra game that I think that you've earned if you certainly played with Kids Incorporated a couple of years, and we feel the same way here. That we'll get you an extra game down there, and our biggest point of that is sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield, and then also all donations go to High Plains Food Bank, which is great around the holiday season, especially Thanksgiving. To enter that ball game, it'll cost you $1 or a can of food, and so be ready for that. There'll be more information about that. Your coaches will be informing you as the season moves along with that. Make sure that you thank your coaches. Your kids thank your coaches. They could be anywhere from 2 to 4 different folks helping out there on the practice field and on game days, because they put in a lot of time and a lot of effort for about a 6-week period of time, and it is some work. There's no doubt tackle football is a little different animal than the rest of our sports. There's a lot of things that go into tackle football, so make sure you tell those folks thank you for the work they've put in, and if you want to jump in and help, I'm sure they won't mind, that's for sure. Here's the 3 things that you're going to be this year, and you probably already know that. You're going to be the banker, because you're going to pay for the fee, which we're appreciative of. You're going to be the taxi cab driver. You're going to drive your kids to and from practice and to and from games. And when you get to the ball game, you're going to be the best, good, positive cheerleader and role model that you can be out there, because at the end of the day, we're all cheering for our kid first, and then we're cheering for the team. So we want to make sure every parent in the stands handles themselves. You're not going to like every call, I understand that, but you keep positive and stay positive. I think that rubs off on everybody out there. Biggest question that you'll have to start the season, you'll get with your coaches, and you'll sit down and have a meeting and say, when are we going to practice? What time are we going to practice? And where are we going to practice? And those are things that parents need to iron out with coaches on specific days. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday really are the best days to practice as far as I'm concerned. Wednesdays are not a great day. You've got religious services and maybe some other things going on. Fridays sometimes aren't the best days because those are tackle football nights for our high school, obviously, and a lot of kids and parents, coaches like to go watch games around the area. So I try to stay away from Wednesdays and Fridays, but that's your call as far as what's best for your group of parents and teammates. You pick the day and times. I will say this though, before the season starts, I think certainly 3 days is plenty to practice and go through your routine of getting to know kids and what they can and can't do, what positions defined for those folks. Make sure that they have what they need to learn, obviously, from you guys. But let's make sure that I'll tell our coaches, let's stay on the task of not more than 3 days a week. Start about 6 o'clock, 5:30 to 6, depending on your schedule. Practice an hour and a half to 2 hours. I think any more than that is not good. You may hear some grumblings and rumblings, and then I'll get a call about it. But 6 to 8, 5:30 to 7:30, somewhere in that time, that's plenty enough time to get a child involved in football as far as what they need to do, that specific practice. Because you've got to get home, you got to get your kid fed, you got to get them bathed, you got to get them homework done, and then also get to bed and get up and you start your routine the next day. So I will say that 3 days a week, certainly plenty to practice before the season. When the season actually begins, 2 times is plenty. I think some may go 3 if it's a walkthrough day to maybe you just wear helmets and t-shirts, shorts, things like that. I'm okay with that, but going out there 3 more times a week, especially when school started, I think that's pretty tough on a child, pretty tough on a parent, and that's a lot of time for the coaches. So I would say, once again, not more than an hour and a half to 2 hour practices for those folks once the season begins. Once the season begins, you're playing 1 to 2 games a weekend. You'll play an 8-game season, so I think it's important to get your practice time in, but don't overdo it. Folks, I'll tell you this, put Kids Incorporated low on the priority list. Whatever your family priorities are, put Kids Inc. Tackle Football kind of low, because we should not be the priority as far as your family is concerned. We don't want to be the priority. We're appreciative of the business, as I've mentioned, and thanks for playing, but put your priorities in line, but put us down here at the bottom. I think that you'll find that may work better for you, that's for sure, okay? Practice fields and games. Normally teams will practice at their school they attend, elementary school. Middle school, I believe most of you can get on the field after 6 or 6:30, depending on the middle school games, and practice a little bit. I think a lot of coaches in the middle school like to make sure you maybe find an alternate field at that particular school. If they have 2 fields, do that, not get on the turf every single time. And if somebody's on that turf, obviously we don't want to disrupt a game from AISD, that's for sure. Games will be played at all the middle school fields, depending on how many leagues we have. You'll probably play 99.9% of your games at one specific field for the entire season. And so gear up for that. It'll be on the turf fields. Saturday mornings and Sunday afternoons are when we play. We start at 9 o'clock on Saturday mornings with games every hour and a half, 9, 10:30, noon, 1:30. Depending on how many teams are in your league is how long that day will go. And then also on Sundays, every game starts at 1:30. We don't play more than 3 games on the turf. On Sundays, it's 1:30, 3, and then 4:30. So that ought to get you lined out on specifics there, but check our website. The schedule will be posted the day after the season, after we have our coaches meeting, which is scheduled for September 3rd. Coaches will have jerseys and get you lined out on that, and they'll give you some more information on that. But let's talk about why you're here. Let's talk about the equipment we're going to check out to your child, and then what we expect as far as getting that back, needless to say. Let's talk about this right off the bat. When you get here on that specific day, let's say Saturday the 22nd, when your team checks out, we'll have our teams line up outside. Our staff members will separate those 2 or 3 teams, whoever's here. We're going to bring 1 team in at a time, spread those folks out. They'll walk through, they'll get their weight, and then they'll walk through. Once they do that, they're going to go to the shoulder pad area. When they first walk in, we're going to try on a pair of shoulder pads for them. We use an all-star brand of shoulder pad and have for 20 plus years that I've been here. I like this pad. It's a good long chest plate in front, and you've got the same in the back. You're able to use your drawstring here. You're also able to clip underneath here. You'll learn a little bit from your kids. They'll show you how to put on a pair of shoulder pads. You may have to do it yourself, so be prepared to do that. But shoulder pad line first. Once you finish there, you'll go over to the helmet area. We use a Schutt helmet, which I think is one of the best, if not the best in the country as far as helmet gear goes. Schutt face mask here, the inside of this, certainly padded up. Our folks there will try a different helmet on you to make sure it fits. Without question, probably the most important piece of equipment that you'll put on. As you know, the concussion issue or concern comes up each and every year, and it should. It is extremely important to learn a little bit about the concussion protocol, how we handle it at Kids Inc., and then how our officials will take care of your kids on the field should they get dinged or something happens there. But that's a safety issue, so we want to put the best helmet we possibly can on your child. If this helmet doesn't fit, we'll talk about refits, and you have to come back and get another helmet. Once you leave the helmet area, we'll take you over to the pant area. You'll walk in there and you'll try on a pair of pants. You may start small, work up depending on how they work for your child. This is an integrated pair of pants. It has the hip pads, the tail pad, obviously has the thigh pads in here, and then the knee pads. Everything's built in, so when you wash this, you don't have to worry about taking this part out. And then a lot of us, which part do I put back in where? Is this a hip pad or where do I go? So years ago, went to an integrated pant, which I think is a plus for us, and really like this pant. Does a good job. It's a durable pant, that's for sure. Once you leave there, basically your experience will finish up as you leave, and you'll go out through the back door there on the southwest corner. We'll hand you we'll get your weight, obviously, and the ladies will put a size down for your jersey and what we'll give the coaches to hand out to you when they pick up the jerseys. But this is what the jersey will look like. Have our logo on the front, whatever number is chosen for each kid, and then also on the back. Once you finish with the ladies in the back, getting all the inventory numbers and then deciding what jersey size you'll get, and you'll be free to exit on the southwest door there. What we're asking, though, is for two coaches to come in with the kids. Parents, if you'll stay outside and walk down to the southwest corner of our building, that's where your kid will come out, and then hopefully it's been a good experience for them to come through. We think it's going to take about 20 minutes or so to get each team through. Then we'll bring another team through, trying to spread everybody out. Obviously, you know the reason we're not trying to have a lot of folks in the building with the COVID situation. We're trying to limit that to players and a couple of coaches, and then parents will be outside along those lines. As far as the COVID situation goes, I'm not trying to avoid that, but what I am trying to say is that any information that you need from how we're handling the COVID situation to a sports operator side of it, a family side, and then how our players will handle it on and off the field, please go to our website. That information will be posted as soon as possible, and you'll be able to take a look at that, read that, go over that, make sure you read it for sure. Our coaches will get the same information, and those folks will be hopefully in tune with how we're handling our business through our sports season here. General questions and comments that normally come up. I don't normally go through all the rule packet here. I'll talk about that with coaches when we go through our rules. On September 3rd, we'll do a Zoom video with those folks, but the number one question and the number one call I'll get after the first week or so is, Kim, how much playing time is my kid supposed to get? Minimum playing time for each child is 16 plays per game. That includes on the offensive and defensive sides of the ball. That does not include special teams, which are kickoff return, punt team, and punt return team. I don't count those in the 16 plays. Most teams will average 18 to 20 kids per team. Some may have a few more though, but I certainly think that's a gracious amount of playing time for every kid to get. I get it that some will get a little more than others, but I ask our coaches to move people around, making sure that maybe this kid didn't get as much this game, will get more the next game, but 16 plays is what I ask. What I also ask our coaches to do is teach each player an offensive position and a defensive position. A lot easier to get your kids in the game when you got two ways to go as far as a coach. You don't have to worry about, did I get him in enough? Did I not get him in enough? Teach them the right position to be in. And along those lines, let's make sure that we try to put kids in a position that they can succeed. You know, we're not trying to put a 60-pound kid on the line. That's not a good situation for him. That's not good for his self-esteem. It's going to be a tough day for him, that's for sure. And we don't want a 120-pounder at safety either. So those coaches are sharp enough and smart enough, hopefully, to put the kids where they need to go. I just want to see a kid succeed when he's on the field on each side of the ball. Get their playing time, do the very best they can, and hopefully they've had a good day and a good game. The other big point that I'll talk about is I ask our coaches to teach each player how to block and tackle. The two most basic parts of the football game from 100 years ago. You've got to know how to block, you've got to know how to tackle. And you're not going to be perfect at it to start with. If you're a fourth grader, you move to fifth to sixth, and sixth you're going to junior high. By the time you get to junior high, after you've left our program as far as our coaching and what they're teaching you out there. You need to know how to block and tackle to the best of your ability, because once you get to junior high, they've got a little over 2 weeks to prepare an A and B team, a green and a white team, and get you on a team. And so you need to come in at least having some expertise on what's going on in those two areas. So I really put a lot of emphasis on those two components of the game. And that's a lot of pressure to coaches to teach that. Everything now is a lot of spread offense, a lot of spread defense, a lot of different things happen. But at the end of the day, it's back to old school basic football. You've got to be able to block and tackle. And these are drills and skills you can work on at home. You don't just have to go to practice and go home and put your equipment up, and that's the end of the day. If you've got some time as a parent, go out in the backyard and work with your child. When you've been to a practice, watch what they do and help that child get better each and every day they go to a practice. That obviously makes them certainly better in a game. More importantly, though, I want to make sure you as coaches, you as parents, that we treat our kids with respect each and every day. And I know you as a parent do. I'm hoping our coaches do, and I believe they do overall. But you get out there in the grind of football, and it's sweat, and it's hard, and it's tough, and it's all we got to go. We got to get this done. But at the end of the day, we've got to treat kids with respect, folks, and that's what I ask our coaches to do. I ask our coaches another part: do not ever put your hands on a child in a very aggressive manner, like grabbing a face mask. The most unacceptable part of football I've ever seen is to grab a kid's face mask and move him from side to side. We're not going to tolerate that. Grab a kid underneath the shoulder pads, move him from side to side, or push him here or push him there. I've seen kids get in the stance and the coach will kick them in the tail. Well, they go head first into the ground, all because they're frustrated about something. But you know what, parents? Coaches make mistakes too. You as a parent make a mistake. The kid's going to make a mistake. I make mistakes every day. Our organization makes a mistake here and there. But we've got to learn from that and move on. But trying to be rough and tough and grab a kid and handle them in an abusive manner, every time we talk about it, every time you do that, you're going to lose. When you lay your hand on a kid in an aggressive manner, you're going to lose. This day and time with phones and video and people filming stuff, I said it's just going to happen. So I ask our coaches to make sure they take care of their business out there. Number two on that, we're not going to tolerate any abusive language from coaches, parents, kids on the field, certainly our officials, things like that. We're not going to have language out there like that. I'm not saying that a child has not ever heard a curse word. Some may, for the most part, some probably have somewhere along the line. But that's just not a place for kids to be hearing abusive language and talked to in a degrading manner, language used about that. We're not going to tolerate that. Should those things happen, please give me a call at our office. I'd be more than happy to sit down with you as a parent and the coach and whomever I need to make sure that we get those situations taken care of. But if you'll go to our Code of Conduct page, which is really our last page of our rules, you'll be able to see everything I've talked about plus some more things, and challenge yourself to abide by that Code of Conduct. I guarantee you'll have a good season. Any questions, certainly I'm available. Give me a call at our office. Come by and see me anytime. An open door policy. You might want to call to make sure I'm going to be there, but be more than happy to visit with you, visit with a coach and yourself, another parent, whatever we need to do to make it right for your kid. At the end of the day, we're going to do what we can to defend the kid, make sure the kid gets the utmost respect and has a great time playing with Kids Incorporated. On behalf of Kids Incorporated, use good sportsmanship and have a great season. Thank you.